Good morning. So today I'm going to be dealing with this dangerous door here. Now you might be looking at this door thinking it looks rough and old, but what's so dangerous about it? Well, the answer is absolutely nothing. The problem is where it's located. Now, because I live in the countryside, I don't have mains gas here, I have a bulk tank. And the problem with the bulk tanks is there's certain rules and regulations about having them. Now the theory is, if this tank was to leak, the gas that's in it is heavier than air, and they think it might puddle in the shed because the shed is too close. Now personally I don't see how that's going to happen, because it's down steps that way, so the gas has somehow got to decide to not go down those steps, but get up these steps and then get in the door and then puddle in there. I don't think it's going to happen, but that's the rules. So at the moment that tank needs replacing, and they won't replace it until I fix some of the safety issues. So I have got to do something with this door. So obviously, being a brick shed, I can't move the doorway itself, but I can move the door. So that is the plan. I've drawn a line on the floor there. It's 3 metres away from the gas tank. So the idea is I'm going to build a wall across there, and I'm going to move this doorway in so it's 3 metres away, and then that should hopefully cover all the problems, and they'll be happy to replace the gas tank. Now obviously, just the theory of this is nice and easy, but the practice is going to be a lot harder. Now you might be looking at this shed thinking it looks like a nice sturdy shed. Well, unfortunately it's not as sturdy as I'd like. It's a lot better than when I moved in. When I moved in, all the roof had collapsed and it was full of junk, so I cleared it all out, put a new temporary roof on it. Obviously I have put some of my own junk in here now, but as you might be able to tell from the crack in the floor, the building itself is shifting slightly. So from that wall there, the floor actually slopes up to that crack, and from that wall there it slopes up to that crack. This wall is 2 centimetres lower than that wall, so the entire thing is kind of sliding down the hill. I don't know if it's done all the movement it's going to do, or if it's going to carry on moving. To be honest, I was thinking of getting rid of this shed. The problem is I've got all this junk in here that I don't quite want to throw away, but I haven't got anywhere to put. So for the meantime, it's going to stay. So this is going to be one of those temporary builds that either lasts like 5 months or 50 years. So yeah, it's going to be a bit of a challenge. So I'm going to start by building 2 walls. Now these are going to be fun, because the only thing that's straight here are the existing walls, the floor slopes and the ceiling slopes. The ceiling's just bowed, so I might be able to push that back up, but the floor, obviously I'm just going to have to work with what's there. So yeah, I'm going to start by building a wall on either side here, leaving a gap in the middle for the doorway. I'm then going to try and restore this old door and put it in the middle here, and then yeah, see what happens. So yeah, let's start by building a wall. Right, well that's one dodgy wall built, so let's go and see if it fits. I've got no confidence in this at all, so I'm certainly taking my persuading stick with me. Right, well that went surprisingly well, so I suppose I better build another one now. Well, that didn't go too bad actually. I was concerned they weren't going to fit, but the angles were all correct. So yeah, I'm not going to say I like them, but they'll do the job. So I'm going to spend the rest of the day making sure they're nice and secure, making sure they're square to each other, and then tomorrow I'll make a start on this door frame. So see you tomorrow. Well, securing those went quicker than I thought, so I thought I'll take the door tonight. So I could put a couple of sheets of plywood up there just to stop any animals getting in there. Don't want the neighbour's cat getting in there and getting stuck. So yeah, let's try and get this off. Right, so now I've got the door in here, let's take a quick look at what's wrong with it. So other than having a mismatch of hinges and screws, the main problem with it is at some point it's fallen apart and it hasn't been repaired properly. So you can see, just about make out in the paint here, there was a diagonal going up there. That would stop the door from twisting. I believe that was removed at the same time that it probably fell apart, because the spacing between these is wrong, and you can tell that because there's a whacking great big gap here, same as in the middle. There's also a piece of wood that they've screwed onto the outside, so I would imagine the wind probably caught this door, it probably blew around and just fell apart. That way they've bodged it back together again. Now that repair piece at the top is full of woodworm, so I want to get rid of that. I want to close that back up again, which probably means removing all these planks and then nailing back in place. I also want to make the door square because they have cut this to fit the frame, and obviously the door's not the right shape, so I'm then going to also be cutting down the frame as well. So yeah, lots of work to do to it. So I'm going to start by seeing if I can dismantle it. Right, well, it didn't come apart too badly. I damaged a little bit of the trim up the top here, but I've got the piece so I can glue that back in. But yeah, now I've got all the boards out the middle, I can start closing up these gaps in the frame, actually get the frame solid, and then tidy those up and put those back. So yeah. Right, well it is the next day now. I didn't record much of restoring the door, but the restoration did go well, so I've now got a nice sturdy square door. It's slightly smaller than the original, so I am going to have to adjust the frame, but yeah, that is the next stage, is to remove the old frame. Right, well I'm not sure how well this is going to go. By the looks of it, there's 4 nails that are holding this in place, so if I remove those I should be able to pull the frame out, obviously being careful with the bricks at the top there because they're loose and going to fall on me, so yeah. Well, the camera cut out, I managed to get the door frame in place. So yeah, now all we've got to do is see if the door fits. Well, there we go, with a coat of paint we're all finished. Now personally I think this looks absolutely hideous and completely ridiculous, but I have got a functioning door that is now 3 metres away from the gas tank, so I can still get into my shed, still use that as storage, but the gas company won't complain about the doorway and the potential of the shed exploding. So yeah, I'm now going to contact the gas company and see if there's anything else, because I think they said something about overhanging branches, so I'm hoping that they don't want me to take the laurel down, because that really is a big job. But yeah, for now I'm going to end this video here. I hope you left it a like, and I shall see you later.